Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. I am Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 tips on how to be happy at home. Before I get started on those tips, I want to tell you that this is a collaboration video with Joy from She Builds Her Home. And her and I have done several videos together, and she is the sweetest lady. I just absolutely adore her. And she has a great YouTube channel, so please go check out her channel. I will leave the link to her video in the description box below, but make sure you go check it out and give her some YouTube support. She's been trying to work on building her channel, and she's doing it, but you know, she could always use more encouragement, and she's got so many good homemaking tips to share. She's a young mom of 2 little boys. She's a Christian lady and is just filled with so many great, positive, productive homemaking tips. I think you'll love her channel, so make sure you go check it out. Okay, let's start talking about those 7 tips to be happy at home. This is almost like a follow-up video. If you saw my video on how to reduce stress at home, if you didn't, I will link it up here, and I will also put it in the description box so that you can be sure to check that one out as well. And I say that they go together because once you learn to reduce your stress at home, it helps to increase your happiness at home. But I am going to give you more specific tips today on how to do that. Number 1 is structure your day. So this one is something that I've talked about a lot, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but it's really important as a homemaker to have good schedules, to have good routines, and to keep your day flowing smoothly. If you've ever worked outside the home, or maybe you're a new homemaker, or life has just changed, you know, there's something though about having a job that job is going to dictate to you when you do things, what time you get your things done, what time you need to be at work, what time you have at home afterwards. And once you come home, you don't have that type of demands on you anymore and that type of structure. So it's really important to create a good routine and a good structure for your day. Number 2 is take pride in what you do. Our society can have such a negative view on homemaking, that it is just a thankless job, that it is, you know, a very, don't you have anything better to do with your life type job. I've gotten lots of negative comments over the years, especially once my kids were gone and I continued to be a stay-at-home wife. People just had a really hard time understanding that. And I think we need to realize that homemaking and taking care of a home, running your home so things are smooth and functioning, taking care of yourself well, taking care of your husband or children, and both, are so important in keeping life positive and keeping you happy. When you take pride in what you do, it creates a sense of joy inside of you for a job well done. Number 3 is embrace the mundane. So, you know, there are things that are very repetitive in homemaking that you do over and over, daily, weekly, whatever it is. It's just the same thing. You're doing it again and doing it again. But let me remind you that there are a lot of jobs out there that are very mundane. I mean, if you work in a factory, you can be doing the same thing over and over. You know, there's just so many things in life that are mundane that homemaking isn't unique to that. So it's time to embrace the mundane, because the mundane is what can actually give you a lot of peace. They're not things you need to overthink about. They're not things that are difficult to do. They're just simply repetitive. So how do you add a little happiness and a little joy into those mundane things? I will tell you what I do is I use that as my opportunity. I use it to listen to podcasts, maybe learn new skills by listening to somebody talk about something. Listening to homemaking podcasts while I'm doing it kind of reminds me, yes, okay, encourages me along the way. I love reading, and so one of the things I started doing years ago, especially when I was starting to have a lot of vision problems, is I started listening to ebooks. And there's a lot of free apps out there that you can download and have all kinds of books, great classic books. I spent a couple years and, went through, I can't even tell you how many classic books I read, and I loved them. I learned to absolutely love reading classic books or listening to them. In fact, so much so that I would be excited to be, folding that laundry or doing those jobs because I got to listen to the next chapter of the book when I would do that. And I would save that for the times that I was doing those mundane chores. The other thing I love to do is listen to my Bible. I will just turn that on, and it might be my daily Bible readings because I have an audio Bible. I might just get several days ahead, which is okay by me. Or I may just pick a random book and listen to that. I may find a good devotional to listen to. Again, through podcasts, it's amazing what you can find to just listen to and do those mundane chores, and you'll discover that they're really not bad. You might actually look forward to them so that you can listen to that next podcast, that next chapter, that next, book of the Bible. Number 4 is get involved. One of the things that a lot of homemakers deal with is social isolation. If you're spending all your days with your children or by yourself, it can be very isolating over time. I am actually an introvert, and so I like that, but there are times when, I've had enough social isolation, and it's time for me to be involved in something. Several ideas that come to my mind are like community college classes that are non-credit classes. Maybe you learn how to be a better photographer or learn how to paint or, pick up some hobby or skill that sounds interesting to you and take a course on it. And you get to meet people that way. There are also groups like hiking groups, and if you are a mom with young children, oftentimes there's meetup groups for moms where you can get together with other mothers and let your kids play and be able to visit. There are all kinds of ideas and ways that you can involve yourself with other people just to have a break and relieve some of that social isolation. Another good one is Bible studies. If your church has a women's Bible study group or does a weekly Bible study or something like that, join in on that and enjoy a little socialization in your week. Number 5 is spend time learning to improve your homemaking skills or learn new skills. Learn to bake bread if you've never done that. That's super empowering to be able to make a loaf of bread. I've never understood why, but there is some amazing sense of gratification and satisfaction that comes from baking a loaf of bread. It's a great skill to have. Maybe it is, since it's January now, maybe you could be thinking about, planting a garden this spring. It doesn't take a lot of space to plant a garden. You can do it in pots on a deck, on a porch, on your windowsill if you're in an apartment or something. You could plant a few things. If you have a little spot in your backyard, you'd be amazed at what you can plant in a very small space and what you can learn in the process. And there is something very happiness producing about creating and making your own food. Learn to can food. That's a great homemaking skill. You can take advantage of sales. You don't have to overfill your freezer. You can be putting food in jars on your shelves and have it for the months to come. It's a great skill to learn. Also, herbal medicine. How about nutrition and cooking better quality foods and better meals for your family? And simply just learning how to cook and getting good at being a good cook brings a lot of happiness as well. Number 6 is budget. I think that, no matter how much money your husband makes, if your budget is tight, you definitely need to do it. But even if your husband makes a comfortable income, it's important to have a budget. It's important to know that the bills are getting paid and that you know that money is being put towards things that are a value and important to your family or to reach your goals. Be aware of where your money is going. When the finances are under control, there's peace in the house and there is usually happiness. Number 7 is be aware of things that cause you depression or cause to bring you down, bring your happiness level down, bring your mood down. What are some of the things in your life that do that? I'm going to share one because I think it's a big one nowadays. A big one in my mind is the phone. Yeah, I don't know anybody right now, honestly, that doesn't have a smartphone, and I can tell you that they are wonderful. They're a fantastic tool. However, they can also be a huge distraction, and they can bring things into your life that maybe cause you more stress and depression than they cause you happiness and joy. One of those things that comes to my mind right off the top of my head, because I have dealt with this in the past, is scrolling through social media. Let me tell you, that can waste so much time. And even though this video is not about time management, here is what I discovered. You get onto a social media site and you start reading something, and your brain is looking for excitement, entertainment, interaction, and all those things. And if you don't get that right away, then you're going to just keep scrolling, and you're just going to keep scrolling, and before you know it, 15 minutes has gone by, a half hour has gone by, maybe an hour has gone by. And when you finally stop and walk away from it, how do you actually feel? Do you feel like, wow, that was amazing? You know, I feel so much better right now after spending an hour on this social media site. I would have a hard time believing that most people do. I mean, maybe there are, but I have a hard time believing that. I would always walk away feeling more of a mental, because I feel like I just wasted an hour of my time. I didn't really see anything that was uplifting or encouraging me. I ended up maybe involved in some conversation that really has nothing to do with my day-to-day life and the way that I function on a day-to-day basis. And so it actually leaves me feeling a little bit down and a little bit, blue. Set it aside, put your phone aside, and do the things that will actually bring you happiness. Get rid of those distractions and get rid of the things that don't bring you joy and happiness in your life. All right, guys, there are my 7 tips to bring you more happiness as a homemaker, and I hope you found them encouraging or helpful. If you have any to add, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear that. And what kind of things do you do in your homemaking life that bring you happiness and that increase your happiness? Currently, I have 2 other projects working in the background here that I want to spend some time with today because they bring me happiness, and I am going to get started on that here. I hope you all have a great weekend, and don't forget to check out Joy's video on her tips for being a happy homemaker, which is linked below, and check out what all the good things she has to say about this topic too. All right, you guys, I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.